And I had to change my mindset into thinking I am not on a diet.
Right.
Everybody else is on, you called it the standard American diet. Let's call it the poison oils and chemicals and dyes diet if you have to.
It's SAD.
It's sad.
Sad. Standard American diet.
But you also have to acknowledge, and Chris said something to me. I called him before this episode to see how he's doing. He's on day 5 at this point. And I said, he goes, I'm glad you told me that I was an addict. Because he related it to being an alcoholic, where you are truly called by those, let's quote unquote, foods and sugar.
You be calling me, man.
And sugar, which is an addictive drug.
It is the most addictive drug.
But he told me a few things. He said, you know what? My pants fit a little bit better already.
Day 5.
And I'm not very bloated at all. Like... Podcast twins, here we are back in the famous Twin Cave.
Twin Cave, baby.
Always good to be hanging out with you, Vince.
Yes, sir.
Tell them what to do.
Hey, as always, what we need you to do is to help boost this algorithm by go ahead and pressing that subscribe button on YouTube. Make sure you hit the little bell icon so you get notified whenever we drop an episode or a clip or a short or anything like that. And then finally, make sure you tell us what you think about it. Leave a comment, whether you like us, hate us, whatever. Or tell us what you want to hear on the next episode, whatever it is. Leave your episode there. Definitely go to Spotify for all my Spotify people. If you want to listen to it at work with your AirPods in, that's fine with us too. Any way you can listen to us and love us, we appreciate it.
And I tell you what, Vince, we're going to jump right in as usual because I got carnivore stuff to talk about.
Woo! Our favorite topic.
And I want to talk about the stuff that I don't hear.
Okay.
I want to talk about the stuff that I've experienced and you've experienced that, and this is really going out to my buddy Chris, who I played golf with on Friday.
Okay.
We were up at the Medalist. Thank you very much to Brock and Jason for getting us on the Medalist because that place was phenomenal.
Nothing like it.
It's I'm not bragging here, but the guy who holds the course record there is a guy by the name of Tiger Woods. Maybe you've heard of him before?
Sounds familiar.
I'd say a few of our listeners probably have heard of him.
Maybe.
But I thought it was just cool to play on a golf course that Tiger has the course record.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you, we played with the head superintendent, and that place was immaculate.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Private courses are just...
nothing but compliments on that place.
It's the best. So what did Chris have to say?
Chris and I, we talked a little bit of business afterwards, as you do in golf, but on the course, we were riding the same cart together, and... he basically started asking me, I hadn't seen him in a few months, and he's like, man, you just keep going down in weight. And I go, yeah, I got to start working out because otherwise I'm going to wither away.
Right.
Maybe I should start watching your YouTube channel. Right. I don't know.
Maybe we should impose a picture of the old Drew right now.
Well, I showed you that video.
No, I'm saying maybe we'll put it in there right now so they can see it.
I showed you a video. Maybe it was April of last year, so not even much more than a year ago. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, look how fat I was, Vince.
Amazing. That's how I walked in the office today. He said, I can't believe how fat I was, and turned around and showed me this. And I'm like, welcome to the new you.
Well, you were holding me accountable for making sure I deleted the videos that were already uploaded, so I was flipping through videos, and I happened upon that one.
Yes.
And but anyway, Chris and I were on a golf course. We're having a blast. Beautiful day. It was a little hot, but who cares? Beautiful day, beautiful course. The guys we played with were totally cool. One of them's from my Indian Princess dad's group.
Okay.
That, we get to hang out at least a couple times a year for that. And, he mostly was asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, are you working out? Are you doing this?
My favorite question.
And I said, look, when I tell people what I'm doing, the first thing that I usually hear is I could never do that. So I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to shoot this. He's like you. He's like a brother, right? And I look up to Chris. He's got a successful business. He's a family guy like us. And he said, well, I know you did carnivore. And I said, look, you know what? Just go home for a week. I said, you can do baby steps. I said, go home for a week, eat nothing but steak, eggs, and Greek yogurt.
Okay.
And you can have water and club soda. Don't drink anything, and especially not beer.
Right.
And see how it goes for a week. See if you can do it for a week, Chris, because I know he's got 2 little kids.
Right.
His wife is much younger than him, so she's not eating healthy all the time, because nobody does when they're young.
Right.
And he goes, you know what, I'm going to do it. So Saturday, he texts me at, I don't know, noon, 2 o'clock, and he said, I started the carnivore lifestyle. Thank you so much for inspiring me. And I'm like, man, look, Podcast Twins actually did some good.
Hey, we have to mix it in, right? We can't just all beat up on politicians and other people like that. We got to do some good.
Well, after our last guest, your boy Walt, I think we should be focused on doing more good.
Well, and again, here's the best part about it. And just listening to the beginning of that story, the thing that inspires me the most out of hearing that is the fact that he said, I know you were doing the carnivore diet, but then he said, thank you for introducing me to the carnivore lifestyle, because that's ultimately what it becomes. Because if right now, you've lost a whole half a human being. If you go back to eating the standard American diet, in 6 months, it's going to come right back. It has to become a lifestyle, or at least the primary figure in the lifestyle. You guys that follow my personal page, I jokingly call it the 85-15 because I am so very social. I do a lot of social activities, as do you, but I tend to participate in some of the social stuff, and I come from a heavily addicted sugar world. So I've gotten to the point where I am not as tempted to the sugar anymore. But breads and all that kind of stuff, my name is Vincent, even though I'm the Black Italian or whatever, So,
which is another reason we're twins. Go on.
Exactly. So again, we have all of this other good stuff that we deal with. But
before we get into the social aspect, because I do want to talk about.
But I'm going to hit to this last point because I want you to have the floor back, and I want you to run on that floor. So what I'm saying is that just the mere fact that Chris decided to take on what you said and give it a real shot, even just for 7 days, it's going to change that week. It's going to change that. And then he can make his own mind up how he wants to continue. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
The track is there.
So I told Chris the same thing that you and I have talked about, which is I had to change my mindset, a.k.a.
Shark mindset.
Walter Bond. And I had to change my mindset into thinking I am not on a diet.
Right.
Everybody else is on, you called it the standard American diet. Let's call it the poison oils and chemicals and dyes diet if you have to.
It's SAD.
It's sad.
It's sad. Standard American diet.
But you also have to acknowledge, and Chris said something to me. I called him before this episode to see how he's doing. He's on day 5 at this point. And I said, he goes, I'm glad you told me that I was an addict. Because he related it to being an alcoholic, where you are truly called by those, let's quote unquote, foods and sugar. You should
be calling me, man.
And sugar, which is an addictive drug.
It is the most addictive drug.
But he told me a few things. He said, you know what? My pants fit a little bit better already.
Day 5.
And I'm not very bloated at all, like I was feeling. And he's not that big, right? I mean, he's a pretty fit guy. He played golf in college. Like, he's an athlete. But, it's kind of what I had the same problem, the gut area.
Right.
And all of that sugar and all of those chemicals and all of those oils and beer sits, that's why they call it a beer gut, right? Sits in your gut. And I was so happy that I was able to, he just needed a nudge over the fence,
that's all he
right?
needed.
He was going to do something, whether I told him or not, but he heard us talking about it on several episodes. Right. And here we are. He's 5 days in, and he's like, I'm sticking with it.
That's the magic. And, again, I just came from Los Angeles, and it becomes a social situation. But now that I've done it so long, ordering at a restaurant is easy. So I'll give you guys a quick...
The second time we hung out, I saw you order at a restaurant and on a golf trip.
Right. And so I had to alter my thinking. So again, I go to LA, everybody got to go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. I had that. First thing first, that was the only thing I ate that day. Why? Because I knew my calories was going to be off the charts. And I knew that was going to be a carb-laden and fried chicken.
And fried in canola oil or vegetable oil or whatever,
But then the next 2 times we actually went outside the house to eat, I ordered steak with whatever the meat appetizers were. So if they had, grilled shrimp or whatever the case may be. But now I don't feel awkward anymore. The hardest thing is, they bring that basket, but now I can push the bread basket away.
Well, and I'm okay leading by example.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, if I'm going to be the odd one, I'm already the odd one in a lot of circles I hang out with, right? Maybe the black sheep in some circles.
Right.
And I'm okay. And we'll talk about the social aspect. I went to a kid's birthday party with my 10-year-old daughter.
Right.
And
Very
they
tough.
had some fruit. And it looked like it was pretty fresh, so I snacked on a little bit of fruit.
Right.
And they had sandwiches, but I wasn't really keen on them. There was mayonnaise all over them, like plain white bread. The whiter the bread, the quicker you're dead. And fortunately, it was at the community pool.
Okay.
So I walked myself home. I took out a couple of burgers that I had made the night before.
There you go.
I ate them, and I walked back to the pool, and everything was cool. And then I feel like I insulted them by not eating their cake, because they tried really hard to push it on me.
Nah.
But I never really liked cake. So even if this was 10 years ago when I was eating the sad diet, I still would have said no thank you to the cake.
Okay.
But now if it was a homemade pumpkin pie or key lime pie
Something
made by my
alley.
wife, then we haven't that's a harder
Right.
say no to for me, and quite honestly I might be weak in that situation.
Right.
And that's my cheat day, if you will. But I also read and watched some YouTube videos about how a cheat day is a scam.
It is.
Because you're addicted to the food. And
Yes.
they tell you when you're an alcoholic or a cigarette smoker or a drug user or whatever, you don't get a cheat day. So why should you get a cheat day to eat poisons?
But that's why it's the wagon, right? The wagon mentality. You fell off the wagon. But you don't have to stay off the wagon.
Right.
You literally fall off that wagon and you chase that wagon down, because the wagon traditionally don't go that fast. From back when those times where
the horse was running,
the horse was,
or a guy was pulling it.
So it's not going that fast. So you can go and get your ass right back on that wagon. And I mean, listen, we ate some fantastic meats. I even had the Wagyu ribeye my last night there. Absolutely phenomenal. Place called Tao out there. Amazing. Asian restaurant. But again, this is the way I can do it this way now. But for those that have the biggest complaint, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but you're eating ribeyes and all this other stuff. I can't afford that. And I'm like, great. So can you afford ground beef? Yeah.
If you go to Aldi.
And then I'm telling you, you can go to Aldi's and go get this particular ground beef. It's half the price that it is at the Big P. And you can go out here and get it done. And I'll show you how to do that. You get that and go get now that the eggs are coming back to some sort of reasonable number. And I'm like, if you like those two things, and that's how what they call dirty keto, dirty carnivore is, use cheaper meats. Why are we happy with cheaper meats? Because it's better than you eating that white bread. It's better than you filling up on that pasta out of the box. Is better than you filling up even with the potatoes, because you're removing the starches out of it. Now, if you are a bodybuilder and you were doing some other stuff like that means you're doing some precision eating. Hey, look, I got no problem with that, because I know what it takes. I woke up and just eating rice and chicken and rice and fish. I've been through that world, but that means it's no salt, no butter, no nothing. That is for a specific purpose. That's less than 1% of anybody who's ever even tried to do something like that. So for the average American who we're reaching out to right now, hey, look, stop saying that you're pleasantly plump and say, I'm fat. I got to do something about it. And everything that I've done in the past hasn't worked. So now let me try this. Because I got nothing else to lose.
Well, I had a fitness instructor tell me one time that the mindset shouldn't be I'm fat. It should say I'm fit in my mind, but my body's catching up.
Okay.
And that was how he put it to his clients. I'm fit in my mind and my body's catching
What
up.
the mirror tell you? You fat as hell. But whatever motivates you the best. Now I believe in positive words, but I also believe in honest words.
Yes.
So if you keep telling yourself you're pleasantly plump and all this other stuff, you'll give yourself more of those cheat days or more of the leeway. That 15% will become 25%, maybe become 40 or 50, and then we'll use vacation for an excuse. So we actually we laughed last night because historically you go away on vacation, you bring in 5 to 7 to 10 pounds back with you. We didn't do that. And so I was very proud, and we were gone for 6 days.
Good.
And so with that shows you that that progress is there, it's happening. It's being intentional. We cooked at home a lot. We were at a spot where we could prepare our food, and we ate. And when we went out, I didn't go crazy. Now, I do have a new thing.
All right. And then I want to talk about specific foods because I want to test your food knowledge. So
I got a new thing.
all right, let's hear it.
At restaurants.
Okay.
I just had a beautiful steak with a side of steak, something like that. And then they say, you want to see the dessert? I'm not, and my thing now is, let me see the menu. Let me look at it. And I look at the dessert menu and I'm like, wow. Okay, I can live without that. And if I don't see something that just absolutely triggers I can't live without it taste. And the last 5 trips to a restaurant, I mean, it wasn't even tempted. But I was so satisfied by looking at it. It felt like I had something. I was like, I am so satisfied right now. And I put that down. So that's just been working for me, man.
The other thing that Chris said, which I was impressed by his discipline, is, his wife had some donuts out on the counter. She had some pastries out on the counter one day, and he just said, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
And I said, you know what, Chris, that's the hardest part.
If
you can stick with that part, where you're not eating all those empty calories and sugar, it's a game changer. Same thing with a box or a bag. If you read the box of the bag and you can't pronounce it,
don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
Don't put it in your mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth.
And that's really what the deal is, man. I mean, it's very hard because, again, the old saying was a second on the lips, a lifetime on the hips type situation. Under that, that's an old statement. But the reality of it is if you're eating this way, and when he decides to allow himself to have something different, it may not be the first time, but if he has it back to back, he's going to get that, I feel like crap feeling. And that's where you're going to have to make up your mind and say, is it worth me feeling like crap just to have that donut? And man, look, I was out at Randy's Donuts, which is like Jupiter Donuts here. Randy's was out there, and they got another place out there, Voodoo Donuts in LA. And I heard that they were coming to the house. Someone was bringing the Voodoo Donuts to the house. That was the day for me to go outside.
There you go.
And I did. I went away and did something completely different and missed that whole boat. So congratulations to Chris for making that transition to jumping on board. And I'm glad that we had something to do with it.
He needed a little nudge, we gave it to him. And a little information, and we gave it to him.
And I'll give him this. Your weight may not move, but your body composition will.
Well, he said he already felt that.
Yeah, my body, I probably haven't lost a pound in 2 months, but I've gone down another belt loop, the hole in the belt. And that's just not trying, not doing nothing over the top, not even overly fasting or nothing. Just doing my normal everyday thing, eating 2 to 3 times a day, but I do try to keep my window closed. But that's just normal. And so, look, just don't give up on it. I feel better. I feel great. He's going to feel better. If you have autoimmune issues, try it. Eliminate that crap out of your life to see if it really help your autoimmune issues. If you're a type 2 diabetic and you ain't doing this, I should be slapping you in the back of your head right now. You need to do something without taking in sugar. Your sugar won't be out of control. It's just science, right? And you won't need the insulin to make you. Those numbers will make sense because if you're just eating the stuff that keeps you. Okay, can we get on cholesterol? Because that's been the latest thing out here.
You can get on cholesterol.
Because
go ahead.
Cholesterol is what makes your sex hormones. So your testosterone, your everything that you need to function comes from the cholesterol. But they want to give you a statin drug that will lower your cholesterol to below 200. Let's get it below 200. And they got you out here believing that below 200 is a healthy place to be. But they can't show you that the heart attacks come from elevated cholesterol. First of all, your body makes cholesterol. Your body ain't gonna kill itself. It don't. Your brain needs the cholesterol. That's why it's called type 3 diabetes. You're bringing the cholesterol so low, the brain doesn't get the fat and the cholesterol that it needs to develop. And a lot of these people are having dementia episodes. There's been studies out there now, I really wish I had it to give you, and maybe I'll find it by the time we post this, where eliminating the statins and reintroducing a higher cholesterol, high fat, high protein diet, carnivore, into these people, their memory began to return. And we're talking about 60, 70-year-old people, and I think there was between 60 and 75 years old. Their memories began to get better because you're giving the brain what it needs. It's a cholesterol-based situation. So your cholesterol, matter of fact, back in 1950s and 60s, normal cholesterol in the United States was about 350. But they want to keep you below 200 so they can give you. It didn't
change until 1981 when they invented statins.
Statin drugs, and your joints are going to hurt. Your unit will not work, fellas. It will just quit on you.
But that's okay. Then they can sell you the
sell
Viagra.
You a new Viagra.
It's no problem. Man. We cause a problem. We'll sell you a different drug for that.
So we're going to give you a drug to kill your sex hormone, to give you another drug to rebuild your sex hormone. Instead of just eating a steak with the fat in it and eating a whole egg with the choline in it, then you don't have to take all that crap. And your body looks great and you feel amazing. You know,
sleep better, more energy, the list goes on, yeah.
You're not going to stop that calendar from ticking, but you can absolutely damn sure change the way that mirror looks back at you every day and how you function with your kids, how you function with grands and great-grands. My goal is for whenever they put me in that incinerator and it's time for me to check up out of here.
You got 4 generations at your funeral.
Man, and
at your celebration of life, it's called now.
And yesterday I just did 110 push-ups.
There you go.
This is what I'm saying. But again, it's up to us. We got to move. We got to eat right. We got to hydrate well. And we got to quit taking these damn drugs that's killing us.
And Vince is 111 years old. And look at the guy.
Right now, you know. You already know it don't crack. So we already going to take that and move forward from that point. So, but.
Well, let's talk about a couple of foods. Because I've been making.
Let's do it.
So my wife is tiptoeing into the carnivore waters by default. By default.
Finally.
Well, because again, lead by example, right? If I'm doing the cooking.
Right.
I'm probably making a steak or some burgers or some eggs or some chicken, fish, bison, elk, turkey, etc. So she's eating what I am when she's home.
Right.
And she works nights, so that's not always the case.
Right. Oof.
But, you know, she really is still hell-bent on having sides.
Okay.
So I tried doing a little bit of research, but it's confusing because some things tell you that vegetables are so carcinogenic that they're going to kill you.
They could.
And then I look at it and I'm like, well, what? I don't want to eat them. This is going to kill me. That's the whole point of this thing. But so what I did was I found some really nice sweet potatoes.
Okay.
And you can tell me sweet potatoes are bad for me after I tell you how I made them.
Well, sweet potatoes is probably my go-to carb.
All right, so I peeled off the skin. I sliced them really thin. Mm-hmm. I took a cast iron skillet, my favorite move. Mm-hmm. We should sell cast iron skillets.
We should.
So
Podcast Twin cast iron skillets right here.
I put ghee and coconut oil in there.
Ooh.
And I fried them, and I made potato chips. And I just add a little salt when they're done, because you know when you take them out, the salt sticks, right? I'll bring you some next time.
No, that's awesome.
And that's it. But now the problem with those is you could eat 1,000 of them because they're amazing. They're like candy, but wrapped in a bacon wrapper almost.
So are these the little ones out from Aldi in that bag?
I think we got those ones at Winn-Dixie.
Okay. So here's what I would.
I think they own each other now anyway.
But
it's the same place.
I think that either way. So if that's going to be the case, then earlier in your day to have that, because now you're at night, you definitely don't want that to be on your stomach. But if you're doing that early in your day when you're out there moving,
so that's a lunchtime, 2 o'clock snack.
Yeah,
thing,
if you're going to add that in, because it's a natural food, you're cooking it in good stuff, and everything in. If you prioritize your protein, you can't eat that many of those.
That's true.
That's the difference.
Because we did eat them with steak.
Yeah. So, but
obviously.
if I do have a salad, and it's funny now because at like work we'll make if I'm grilling steaks, guys will go out and make this beautiful salad, and I'll make a bowl every single time because I like the romaine. I like the stuff in the salad, like tomatoes, cucumbers, and all that. That's what I like. I don't really care about the green stuff. But I will eat the entire steak first. I'm full.
Maybe you really are Italian because we eat the salad after too.
Yeah,
that's how they do it in Italy.
And that's the way I'm going to eat whatever's left after that because I'm going to prioritize the protein and fat, and then whatever I have in there, because again, that's that 85-15. I don't have to be very strict, but this is a lifestyle. As long as that becomes my dessert, then I'm good. Listen, at the Firehouse, people like to come by and bring you cakes. They like to bring you donuts. They like, Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, wow, why are you doing all this stuff? You're killing me.
But that's everywhere. That's every office building.
Yeah,
that's every company.
It's
they have cake. They got donuts on Friday. They got bagels. They got all kinds of stuff.
And I love
candy dishes everywhere.
God. And I love like cream cheese. But I had to realize that I love the cream cheese more than I love the bagel and the cream cheese. So I'm like, is it the cream cheese that I love or is it the bagel? So I just found other things to put the cream cheese in. So. And there's a ton of little videos on YouTube that you can make carnivore fun. They do stuff with the cottage cheese and be making these little onion chips. I mean, it's amazing the things that they come up with. So I'm still learning some of those
onion
things.
Chips.
Onion
sounds
chips.
Pretty good.
Yeah, they did. They put a plot of cottage cheese down, and then a sliced onion over the top of there, and then they put it on a parchment paper, and then. Made like 6 of them and ran it in the oven at 400 until it all melted down together. Then scraped that thing off, man. It looked amazing.
I bet.
It looked amazing. Yellow onion and the cottage cheese, man. That was like, and now you got a high protein potato chip, onion chip. And it was very good looking. I haven't done it yet.
All right.
I mean, I've made cheese whiffs and I've done all these other things. I've done a lot of different stuff. The cheese crust on the pizza.
Try my chicken skins yet?
I have not tried the chicken skins, but I was in LA and I had some amazing
chicharrones.
Amazing chicharrones out in LA, man. I'm talking the fat layer on there was amazing. But yeah, it doesn't have to be crazy, but I like to say pick your poison. So if I'm gonna have the choice between am I going to have that bourbon or am I going to have that dessert? I'm going to take the bourbon. Why? Because it's going to be done. Boom, we're out. Because when you're doing the carnivore style life, guess what? You don't have a lot of carbs down in you. So one drink, you're pretty much where you need to be. You know what I mean? And so that's what you pick your poison.
Well, it's interesting you said, I can't afford it, right? Like some people will tell you, but then, we talked about on a previous episode, buy the big loin at Winn-Dixie for $60 and cut 10 2-inch steaks off that thing. And, if you're, now I'm feeding a family, but if you're a single guy or girl and you're by yourself, that's 10 steaks. That's a lot of freaking steak.
And if you're eating twice a day.
Plus you're not buying a bag of chips for $6, a bag of pretzels for $6. I mean, that adds up quick to the grocery bill.
If you talk to people at home, spend, not only yourself, forget you. Talk to 3 of your friends and ask them what they spend per day for lunch at work.
No, put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. How much did your 3 friends spend for lunch at work?
Most people I found
$22.
is averaging about $18 a day. That's 5 days a week. So you just spent $100 right there on one meal per day.
I got you 10 steaks for 40% off.
This is what I'm saying. So, it's...
If you work for Winn-Dixie and upper management, we will promote you because we're already doing it for free.
That's it, baby. But again, that goes back to show you that it's a choice. You got to make the choice. See, once you make the decision that you want something different for yourself, if you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that is 100% the definition of insanity. And I know I got on the insane to the membrane,
Good
insane
timing.
to the game. Yeah. So I know I got the right shirt on for it, but we don't want to have that. We want to be moving forward. We want to make a decision that, because we're talking to grown people. We're talking to grown people. We're talking about grown folks with families and all this other stuff. That 25-year-old and below, they can go out and eat garbage every day, all day, and be ripped. I know I did it. But when you get grown, and your body starts to make those changes, you better start paying attention to it, because you don't want to ever have to say, man, I got to get it back. You rather keep it than get it back.
Well, they say if you want to be healthy in your 70s, you better be really healthy in your 40s and 50s.
Healthy in your 40s and 50s and strong. Don't be afraid. Don't skip leg day. Don't skip leg day.
Are you gonna tell him that your longevity is related to the strength of your legs?
Strength of your quads.
I figured you might.
Strength of your quads. Your longevity is 100% related to the strength of the quads, and it's not just because of quad size. It's because when you get older, you can't walk as much. When you get older, you get wobbly. But if you're stronger legs, you're not wobbling. You're not going to fall and break that hip. So anything you do, you can recover. Get on the floor, stretch. Yeah, 70s. Get on the floor every day. You put half of these 70-year-olds on the floor right now, you're going to have to call 911 to get them up. But if you're practicing getting yourself up off the floor every day, just think about the amount of stretching that your body has to go through to do that every day.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So if we start stretching now, make it a habit. So hey, I'm not telling you don't have to get in your recliner. Enjoy your recliner.
My grandfather did calisthenics every day. He lived to 91.
Toe touches, the old school stuff you used to do in elementary school, especially if you're grown. That meant you did real calisthenics back in the day.
Now they don't want to teach you that in
they don't
elementary
teach you now.
school.
They're
just like, here, eat this poisonous food and get fat, and then
we don't want to hurt your feelings.
Take some ADHD medicine,
Yes.
and we don't have to worry.
We
about
know
you
that you're
anymore.
on some other different spectrum, so we want you to sit there and just stop it. Stop it. You know what? You got that kid, and okay, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna
100
stop.
push-ups. Let's go.
Well, before you allow them to put your kid on medication, before you allow them to put that kid on the Ritalin and all that stuff like that, try this. It was a fail-proof plan with my godson. Every day before school, and I know I had a little extra time. Most of you may not, but just consider what I'm telling you. If I couldn't take him outside and burn that energy off of him, he was a nightmare to deal with in the classroom. But if I was able to take him out and play for 30, 35, 40 minutes, we're talking about a 3-year-old. That kid went to school and was great. The only thing I didn't know at that particular point back then was I would burn the energy off of him, but then I'd probably take him to McDonald's and get him the pancakes, and so I'm putting syrup back in him. So I was counterbalancing that, but he still was better behaved when he did that.
You really think they serve syrup at McDonald's?
Well,
it's some kind of substitute, right? It's not syrup.
It's not.
That didn't come out of no tree.
It says, okay, syrup. And so, but consider that. Consider that physical motion is what they're trying to give the kid. They're medicating him so he don't move around and be fidgety. Well, damn it, if we burn him up early, get some of that energy out of him, hey, get up and run with him before, get up and run with him before you go to work and before he goes to school. watch how the behavior changes.
And what's the extra benefit of that is now you're running.
And that's my point. And then you remove the sugars out of his diet, so we're back to the carnivore diet again.
I mean, it's tough with kids, man. I mean, there's
so
much junk everywhere you go.
But is it?
And you gotta rewire their brains.
That's my point. If you wire their brains right from youth, and we don't just start giving them Pringles just because they're 2 years old and cute, and we start giving them things that make meat a little jerky, little stuff like that, cheese, give them real stuff, not that Kraft crap. Get them real cheese and really start doing things like that. You'll start to see that they won't develop that taste for red number 7 and yellow 5 out there, in these flaming hot chips and then you don't have to buy them at home. If you don't buy them at home, listen, they're going to get exposed to it out there. But if it's not at home to back it up, they don't have it here. So at least you can manage that time. And over time, they'll start to say no or less yes to that crap in the street.
And then me and Chris don't have to say no thank you as much either. Because
Exactly.
It's not even there.
And that's what it is. I mean, my GPIP turned 4, right? So they, instead of getting her a cake, they got her a little mini cupcake just to put the little number in there. And I was like, finally,
all right,
we're getting it. And that's what it was. It was a little mini cupcake. She took about a bite of that and went running.
Probably played with it more
and went running. So it was about getting out there playing with her cousins and all that stuff.
I mean, my kids forget to eat when they're outside.
So again,
Right,
but that's because you got outside kids.
And
Well, not necessarily outside kids. Like I know outside kids. We're talking about kids that play outside, not outside kids.
They do.
Yeah, whatever.
Now the problem is, because of the screens, it's almost like you got to kick them out of the house, which I'm good at doing.
You do.
I'm not great at it. I'm not perfect, but I'm good at kicking them out of the house.
Okay.
Go play outside.
Right.
Get that vitamin D sunshine
That's
in you.
it.
Let's all go to the pool together.
Yeah.
Let's all go play kickball.
Together though,
Because
when you do that, you're moving. They see you moving, and you're their best motivation because they'll do what they see you do on the regular basis when you aren't looking. So if you're laying around with your feet up on a regular basis, they're going to do that when you aren't looking. But if they see you are working out and doing these other things and eating right, they'll eventually do that when you aren't looking. We are their best and only teachers, really. So we got to do better. But again, I say, even now with my little pips, I don't condone all of, listen, we go and buy the whole thing of goldfish, the big one from Costco, and I'm like, when that's gone, that's it. Because when you look at the ingredient list on the goldfish, it's unbelievably terrible. They taste delicious, especially the one with the extra little yellow 5 on there to make them a little spicy. They taste amazing, but they are horrible for you. And so they're terrible for the kids. So we're phasing that out of the GPIP's life from my house. And I'm encouraging that to do that with the parents because, again, if you raise them right, they'll go longer, and Whole Foods and all this other kind of crap. And I got one of them that point out Burger King, no, because she loved the chicken fries, and I'm like, no, but guess what? YouTube University taught me how to make chicken fries right at home. So guess what? Now I had to do a little manipulation.
Okay.
I kept the old chicken fry box from Burger King. Made them in my air fryer at home, put them in the box, and served them.
I'm very proud of you for still being able to outsmart a 4-year-old. That's excellent,
Hey,
Vince. I like it.
She was just 3 at the time.
and so did she say like, "Hey,
No.
hey, G-Pop, these taste even better"?
Nope, because
No?
she just
ate them
She just saw that it was in the
in
box.
the box.
So it was like, hey, don't throw the box away for a while, and then eventually you just put them on the plate, and and again, that's chicken, almond flour, and egg wash with some seasoning. You're good to go.
problem.
But you make them in the little chicken fried thing because again, it's visual. It's what TV and maybe even the parents introduced them to these things at that point. And hey, look, we all got to learn. But if it's no good for you in this big body, why is it good for them in that little body? Think about that.
It is not.
Yeah, think about
It's
that.
worse.
It's worserer.
Worserer.
So we
worserer.
We want to do betterer and not be worserer.
So we're gonna go home and eat steak for dinner.
Goddamn right.
I hope you all do the same.
Yes.
And
I have a beautiful ribeye season too.
And Vince said I could eat my sweet potato fries before 2:00, so
Yes.
I'll be doing that.
Within reason.
I won't have the whole bag.
Or even if you have them, man. Remember, eat steak first and then snack on that later. It'll be fine. You won't eat as many.
I do.
You
want
will
more
not
steak.
eat as many. I
More
promise you
steak
that.
sounds good.
So, hey, in the comments, tell me what your friends spend for lunch. And tell me what date you're going to try to start it.
Try. What date are you going to do it and be super disciplined? And how is it going to affect you in a positive way?
Because you don't try. You either do or you don't. So tell us what date you're going to do it. We're just asking you to try for 7 days.
And you're going to have to be the weird person at the party, at the restaurant. And it's okay to be weird.
It's okay.
Right? I mean, maybe now more than ever, it's okay to be different than everybody else.
They know me, and my next shirt will be meat with a side of meat. That would be my next shirt because that's what I do. I go in there, look at the appetizers. All right, what meat can I get here? Or some type of seafood. Oh, they got shrimp scampi. Okay, give me that. Mm-hmm. And then what are you having? Give me the 20-ounce ribeye. What are you having with that?
A fork and a knife.
That's plenty. But you won't need to bring me a to-go box. Because I'm not going to be full of potatoes. I'm not going to be full of all this other crap. Because I'm going to eat my full steak, and I'm going to be so satisfied.
And you know, I'm gonna take it out on this. The other thing that Chris and I talked about when I called him before the show was, he said, you know, he's going longer between meals because he's not getting hungry. And I told him that when I first started it, I had to force myself to eat at certain points in the day because it fit into my schedule and it was the best I could do.
That's it.
But it still worked.
It works,
so
man.
he liked that answer.
Hey, we just trying to make y'all better one meal at a time, man. Eliminate the crap. I promise you'll feel better. If you're on them statins, go kick your doctor. No, don't do that.
No
I don't
seed oils.
Yeah, you know, just butters, ghee.
Beef tallow,
Now,
bacon.
if you want oil, you got olive, you got the avocado. Those are my favorites.
You could drink them.
You're right. You technically could. We'll get into that on another episode. But, you know, take a shot. But either way, hey, let's be fat in the right way. Let's eat animal fat, dietary fat. Let's eat right. Get off these sugars. Get off this other crap.
Real food only.
Real food only.
All right.
And meat.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
And we will catch you next week on Podcast Twins.
Peace.
Yeah.